Hello and welcome to the last installment of this week. Coming into the 7th day, I am Rabbi David Katz. The Ger Toshav Shabbos, hopefully by now you're a little bit more familiar with terminology. I've loosened up myself. I'm now out of English mode completely. Hopefully we can use some Hebrew. The Ger Toshav Shabbos, you should now by know those words. Think Krisis Nainei, the Talmud. My esteemed partner here asked me some questions in the halftime show. I'm going to go ahead and answer those because I think that's right where I wanted to go with number one. Just to speak out of the terminology, let's just I'm going to address your question. You want to ask the question? Want to ask it again, what you did? Or you want me to say it? I'll say it. Okay, the question was like this. If I have a roommate... Okay, I'm going to paraphrase what you said exactly the best I can. So I'm going to quote you. If you're saying... Alright, no, you said, are you saying that if you had a roommate that's not Jewish, would he then be or not be allowed to use your microwave? That's what you said. And here was my answer. I said that if this person living with me was a Nachri idolater by Torah standards, but he's with me, meaning I want him in my house as a guest, roommate, whatever it is, right? We're in the same spirit of the day. That would be an assumption that this person is not anti-Jewish, anti-Torah, anti-God. He does what he does. He's not a 7 law follower, he's not a Noahide, but his heart is in the right place. Let's call him an idolater, i.e. he doesn't fully recognize the God of Israel, but in the Shabbat observance, that is his renunciation of idolatry. It's almost like they say that if you repent 1 second before you die, you merit the world to come. That kind of thinking, right? So the guy does nothing, but he keeps Shabbos. That is the definition of having renounced idolatry. Enough that now in our house, he should not use the microwave in front of me and my kids. In his room, he can, use the microwave, break Shabbos in the prescribed ways, but in our domain, he is not to break the Shabbos, and I am not allowed to use this guy to do Shabbos work for me. Right? That's why it says Gercha and your gate, the ger in your gate, he will not work for you. All the little tricks and trades that people do with interacting with non-Jews on Shabbos, this person is not to do things for you. Then you said, what about if a Catholic priest was in my home Shabbos morning? That guy, he is not my roommate, that much I can tell you. And he is not in my house for the spirit of Shabbos. He is here because I don't even want to know why. But if that's true, then he is in no way keeping the Shabbat. He is not renouncing his idolatry. That is a halachic law of Judaism category called Amira Lagoy. Meaning, you can say to this person, if God forbid I needed something where I can't do because of a Shabbos prohibition, the lights went off, okay, I can't just go up there and flip light switches. I would say, Mr. Rabbi, Priest, whatever you call your name, Priest Bob, can you, would you mind flipping the lights back on? Whatever that is, I'm not getting into the details, but it's called a Mira Lagoy, which means saying to the non-Jew, in terms of helping out with Shabbos where the Jewish person can't, because he has no connection to Shabbos whatsoever. Now, somebody who has renounced idolatry through Shabbos, that person is now your partner in Shabbos. They are not to be abused in any way. That is a major sin of taunting the ger and a lack of loving the ger. Very serious offense. The other guy, the reason why he doesn't come under these categories is because he's not a ger, number one. Number two, there's no foul here. They are not, for Shabbos for them, it's as much of a disregard as I have for their church, he has as a disregard for our Shabbat. Is that good? Okay. Move on. Okay, now, what do we do? This is just a really practical... Okay, Rabbi Katz, we're with you. We're not Jewish. We're Shabbat. We're with you, man. What do we do? Number one, start learning how to pray. Shabbos is a lot of prayer. Find out what you feel comfortable with. I suggest saying psalms, learning psalms. Just get in a group, have a group get together, read the Torah portion of the week. I myself have articles on every parsha, and I think I'm the only one probably on the planet that has a parsha every week for the non-Jews. You can read universal works of Torah. The Psalms is a great way to pray and learn. There's really, in my opinion, no greater Torah to learn than King David's Torah. King Solomon, you can learn Proverbs, the whole Torah, any parsha. The Tanakh there's plenty of things to read and investigate. And my encouragement is, since you're going to be breaking Shabbos, you're not going to, for you, the internet is available and computers. I say, if you're going to learn, really hit the books. It's the weekend, it's Friday night, it's Saturday day. Your friends are there. You're going to have some wine to sanctify the Shabbat. You're having a good time. You're eating good food. I say, get the dictionaries out, look things up, look up words, refine the words, really get into what the Hebrew's saying. Here's your time. You got 24 hours. You connect to God, do it. Get into the study, get into the prayer, talk to God, be aware of the spirituality, pay attention to what people are saying, because the Shabbos is when everything is elevated. People are going to talk holy, they're going to think holy, things are going to come out that don't come out in the workplace in the mundane days of the week. If you have 6 people congregating, talking about their love of Hashem and Torah, and you're in the words in the Hebrew, you're going to find good stuff. Try to eat meat, have some chicken, make some meat, have some wine. Don't get wasted, don't get loaded, but have a cup of wine. Loosen up, take your tie off, but keep it straight. Really keep everything clean. Don't do anything risque. Just have a good, wholesome meal, wholesome time. Do it great, take a walk, enjoy nature, do all you can to, be that spiritual person that you are, but make sure you don't leave out the prayers, don't leave out the Torah study. That's really what Shabbos is for a Jew. The Jewish people are going to refrain from creative labor. And again, it's almost like saying male-female. Right? Women prepare for a party differently than men. Men are ready in 2 seconds. They get dressed, they're done. Women, it takes a long time with the makeup and things. So let's just say the Jewish observance has needs that the non-Jew doesn't have, for reasons that for very male-female. Again, a man can't understand a woman and vice versa. Frankly, the non-Jews can't understand why the Jews wouldn't want a non-Jewish Shabbos, from my friends in circles, because they have a great time and they're, excited, and that's not my idea of a Shabbos. For me, personally, I like silence. I like real silence in my office, meditating on books for all 24 hours if I can. I don't know anybody else that likes that. I don't know anybody else that would want to do that. I don't know anybody else that does do that. But for me, that's my Gan Eden, my Garden of Eden experience. You've seen it, right? You've been here to witness it. I focus. If it's the one day a week that I don't have a slot machine going off, i.e. My Facebook, and phones and Skypes, and for me it's Sagor, closed, and the outside world's out, and for me it's time to connect to God, and I have plenty of books here, and I use them, and that's the one day for me to connect. So the more silent and isolated, the better I feel. For me, the computer will be counterproductive, electricity is counterproductive, a party and noise is counterproductive. That doesn't mean don't invite me to your Shabbos experience if you're Ger. I'm more than willing to come. I'm just not going to be there every week. Because I love my Shabbos. It's my time to really connect. And I think it would be dangerous to the soul for other people, especially non-Jews, to do what I do. I think you die of boredom. I don't know. And again, we're all different. You just got to do what you do. I think there's just a fine line between the Jewish Shabbat and non-Jewish Shabbat. and I don't think it's levels or levels of elitism. I think it's soul and what people want. I think the Gerim are meant to be together, congregate, and do certain things, and Jewish people are here to do a certain type of connection that's opposite. And you really need both in the world, and they're meant to come together, and they're both meant to stay apart at different times. If we didn't have the separation, then we would probably become too familiar in our times of congregation, and if we didn't have our separation, we would never want to come together. So it's a perfect, what's called rediscovers, running and returning. You know, I go to meditate, and then I come out, and I'll be in Texas in the middle of August. That'll be my time to experience the Ger Shabbat, and I'll probably want to go back and do my solitude experience, and then I'll be ready to go back in very short time with the partying Ger Shabbat. Obviously, I'll keep Shabbat in those times, but being around the non-Jews is destined to be a great experience, and keeping the Jewish Shabbat for me is also a great experience. And again, if you're not Jewish, the Jewish Shabbat you can experience in the Ruach or spirit of the Jew. Now remember, when I go to Texas, I'm really not going to be in with the Ger experience, and I wouldn't want to be. It would tear apart my soul if I just started surfing the internet. It's not going to happen, and just wouldn't want to. It's basically, again, male-female. I hate to be disgusting, but a girl doesn't go to a male bathroom and say, hey, that was a great experience. It doesn't happen. But it doesn't mean she doesn't go to a male home, right? It just means that she's grossed out by guy things, and she's not going to start being a guy because, hey, guys are great, and vice versa. And that's healthy. It's healthy. It's normal. Also, families. I love my family. I promise you, you don't want to be a part of them. I'm sure you love your family, and you wouldn't want me to be a part of your family either. Families are a little bit exotic, and they're personal, and so is Shabbos. And there's meant to be time for bonding and a time to separate. It's just reality. We all love each other, yet we all have our personal lives. What don't I do? What don't I do? You don't keep the Jewish Shabbat. Again, we covered that whole thing just because the Torah knows best, really. When you get into the levels of wisdom, you'll appreciate and understand that there's certain things Jews do and non-Jews do, certain things men do, certain things women do, certain things kids do, certain things adults do. It's really the tree of life. Guys are not meant to wear skirts. Women are not meant to be men. That's just the way it is. That's the ways of wisdom, and that's a proper life and a proper lifestyle. What not to do? Let me think about this on the spot. Don't try to be Jewish. Try to be you. Because, I mean, when I do my Shabbos, I'm not trying to be Jewish either. My Shabbos, I'm trying to be me. I'm really trying to connect to David Katz. I'm trying to discover my essential world. You know, I told you in my office, I'm trying to really connect to myself and, you know, my mind. It's, you know, I wake up, let's say at midnight, the kids are asleep. I just come to my office, you know, the summertime, the air conditioning's on. Leave it on the whole time on a Shabbos clock. And I just like to hear my mental pathways work. You know, they say that there's the quietest room in the world. I think it's in Arizona or something, somewhere in America. And you can actually hear your blood flow through your body, they say, and you go nuts if you're in there too long. That's how I feel on Shabbos, but not going nuts. I like to feel my mind working. You know, when you're in total silence, you can hear the sound of silence? That's what I like about my mind. You know, and if I really get in a groove, a lot of times in the winter, because Shabbos comes in so early, I'll get into books, you know, around midnight. Let's say I already slept, it could be a couple of hours, so I'll wake up. And my mind is so loud with the wisdom going through, there's like a party in my head, and I forget that the house is totally silent. It's kind of strange, because in my mind, it's like, ah, it's great. But it's, you know, 1 or 2 in the morning, midnight, and the kids are asleep, and you can hear a pin drop. But in my mind, it's loud party. So that's what I think you're supposed to do is connect. So don't try to feel that you have to do something that's not you. There's a lot of pressure on me to not be me. I don't agree with what a lot of Jewish people do on Shabbos. I feel like the clock is their idolatry. They are subordinate to the clock, and they neglect the Torah. It's the one day a week that people don't learn Torah, and that to me is a chilul Hashem. It's a disgrace, is it not? People don't learn. It's insane. And, they're running here. We gotta go here. We gotta go there. We gotta go there. You know what I mean? And hey, what about the God of Israel? What about Torah? What about connecting? What about your soul? So there's a great push and pull on Jewish people to get away from the Shabbat in the spirit of Shabbat. So it takes a lot of strength and courage to put your foot down and say, I'm going to be Jewish on this Shabbat. And I think the Ger needs to also put their foot down and say, this is who we are, this is what we're going to do, and this is kosher and prescribed by the Torah, and there are people that are against it, they're missing out. So I would say be true to yourself, become acquainted with what you do. I made chicken curry for the first time in my life last Shabbos. I didn't even know I knew how to make chicken curry. So I found out. And in another couple months, I might hate chicken curry. You go through phases. You like dry wine. You like sweet wine. You like Shabbos guests. You don't like Shabbos guests. You go to this synagogue to pray. You go to you really, it's dynamic. Every week you find out more about who you are, who you're not, who you were, and who you're going to be. And your kids are going to change. Right now, my son fell asleep at the Shabbos table for the first time last week. That was a first. That means I am really proud of him. He was old enough to fall asleep in my Dvar Torah. First time. It was the first time I gave a Dvar Torah. My kids were very young. So I was honored to have him sleep at the dinner table. I bored him out. So that was a first. Your kids are going to change and grow old, and soon he'll be falling asleep on the couch with a book. A lot of kids read on Shabbos and they sleep that way. Kind of pass out in the living room. It was a family experience. So you're going to change with your kids. When your kids leave the house, in empty nest syndrome, you'll change again. I know my life changed when I had kids and the babies in the house. That was something. So you're always changing. Shabbos is changed. It's dynamic, and I would say what not to do. Don't fight that. What to do, go with that. Try the different wines. Try the foods. Try things, but be in the spirit of who you are and the truth. Now, there's a lot of party line fallacy, right? Oh, the non-Jew, he can keep Shabbos, but he has to pull a hair out, or he has to turn one light switch on. That is a party line. It's not true. I don't endorse it, and I don't suggest it. The things that you do to break the Shabbos, we've explained it. It's more of a mentality and a philosophy of not the thing that you do, but the way you're doing it. Right? Is Shabbos for you, or is it like a Yom Tov? Is it like Chol Moed? Is it a regular day? You need to find your way. Right? Like I'm saying, my way is like a very meditative, study the Zohar. I'm in Sfat, kind of Kabbalistic and meditation. Really getting into the meditative quality. That's my way. That's my blessing. That's what God's given me. I don't think I'm capable at this point of doing anything else. God has shown me what my way is, what my blessing is. So, find your way. It's called Deya in Hebrew, or Derech, a way. That you find out what goes for you. If your thing is going to sleep early Friday night, so to wake up early Saturday day. If your thing is a totally mundane, but you just want to drive around and just do whatever you do. Find that thing you do. The details should change and grow and diminish and fade away and spawn new ideas, but the energy and the spirit should be the same. I've known you for many years. You dress the exact same way every Friday night. So this guy does not change his energy. I've known him since I was a bacher in yeshiva, and it's the same spirit and energy on Friday night. That tells me that you have found who you are on Friday night. So, but I know for a fact that you've done different things. I've seen different parts of town and different energies, but the general spirit and flow is the same. And that's what I suggest. Find the way that you keep Shabbos, find the way that you break Shabbos, find the way that you travel, whatever it is you do. A lot of questions come up for women about candle lighting. Should they light candles? I'm going to set the record straight right here. This came up on Facebook and I researched it. What is candle lighting? Number one, it's not a mitzvah. Number two, it's not an obligation in the way that people think. What it is it is a tikkun, a repair on Eve for her participation in the sin of Adam. A woman is in danger in childbirth because of the things that can go wrong, and God has given her 3 ways to remedy that. Basically, keeping family purity with menstruation, and keeping from relations at that time, separating the challah, i.e. making Shabbos bread, and separating the part for God, and lighting Shabbos candles. Those 3 things will bring peace of mind to a woman when she gives birth, so she doesn't fall into a dangerous scenario. Now, the lighting of Shabbos candles, it's called a chova. It's something that the Jewish people took upon themselves from the time of Eve and Sarah, the Ger women. At Sinai, the Jewish people made that part of the light of Shabbos, the light of the candles on the Shabbos table to see the food. It all goes together, and the learning comes from that light. And if she can't do it, she doesn't have to go to the end of the world or extremes to fulfill that obligation. Therefore, the Ger women who keep Shabbat, they really should, if they want to, partake in the candles, but I please ask, know why you're doing it. It's not a Jewish thing, it's a you thing. The Jewish women have their reason for doing it. A Ger woman should discover why she does it, why it's meaningful for her. Knowing the source is the repair of Adam, which is universalism. The Ger and the Jew are a part of that. And also, I think we'll extend from this conversation about the candles, really start to learn and know about Shabbos, the vessels of Shabbos. What is a custom? What is a mitzvah? What is an obligation? What is a statute? Which is a decree? Right? All these things you're going to hear. If you go to a Jewish home for Shabbos, I'm going to make this up for context because Jewish people are a little bit funny. Again, I'm making this up for context. If you go to drink water, they'll say, no, don't do it. You say, what did I do? They say, no, we don't drink water. You say, what? Yeah. It's an Indian not to drink water because it brings down gevuras on the chasadim. You say, what? I'm making that up. It's not true. But let's just say, and you say, wow, Jewish people, there's a law in the mitzvah that you can't drink water. So that person that would say something like that, that's a Kabbalistic thing, and that's a custom. And the custom isn't even a strong custom. It's an Indian. It's a thing. Right? I had Norwegian Gerim come to my house. They took their shoes off before they walked in. Now, I'm not word Norwegian, and I'm not putting words in the Norwegian's mouth, but if it was a Jewish thing, I would say that's an Indian. It's just something to do. Right? It's a minhag, a custom is... I pray a certain way from my forefathers. That's a minhag. That's an established custom, and those you don't want to change so much because you keep a family tradition. Now, if you establish in your family as Gerim, we do this, we do that, that's a minhag. Your kids should respect that, honor it, and pass it down. Mitzvah is a law. So all the words that Jews use, if they tell you, no, don't do this, do that, ask them, what is the thing? Is it a mitzvah? Is it a minhag? Is it all these words? Get them to really isolate what the thing is. And if they don't know, then it's a great opportunity to get to the books on Shabbos and look it up. Everything can be researched on Shabbos. If the books are there, take advantage of that. And I think it's a very good thing. And we'll close with this idea that the major teaching here, with Shabbos and non-Jews and Jews, is I call it Ger code. In the Torah, there are words like Ger and Nachri and Yisrael and Bnei Yisrael and Cohen and Levi, all these things. Know the terminology. That is Kabbalah 101, Torah 101, Wisdom 101. It's everything. Know the distinctions, because that's where you find out who you are, what you can do, it's reality. It's the matrix. It's the real matrix. So understand the levels of Ger Toshav. he who rejects idolatry, he who keeps 7 laws, he who receives sustenance from the Jewish people, he who takes on more mitzvot, he who has rejected mitzvot, the idolater, the one coming out of idolatry. All these words have meaning, they have context, they have connotation, they have wisdom, they've become vulgar, there's a pre-vulgar state. The halachic authorities, the law commentators like Rambam and Rashi also have a code, and they also use the code. In the end, everything in Torah is a wisdom word. Don't be afraid or naive of the wisdom. Go for the wisdom, look it up, everything can be researched, and the wisdom is there. There's a reason why everyone is who they are. If you're a ger and you're this kind of ger, that kind of ger, it really is about where you come from. I come from the seed of Aaron. There's the seed from the Levites, Israelites, Gere, Emes, Kutis, Gere, Arias, Gere, Mordechai, Esther, the Gerim, Grurim, Ger Tzedek, Ger Toshav, Ger Toshav, Ger Toshav. There's all kinds of words. They're not levels and categories, though. Don't think that you're a category. You're not. I am not a category of Cohen. Right? I am a context of Cohen. In my soul, in my relationship with God. So in the Torah, let's just call it there are degrees in context of wisdom concerning different areas of Torah. And my soul goes for certain wisdoms. I'm called a Kohen, a priest. I come from, let's say, a lineage. Everyone comes from a lineage. How you became a ger is a lineage. How you left Judaism is a lineage. Everything, there's method to the madness. If you're coming back today, and I'm going to end on this note, I researched this, and on a high note, we'll talk about this. Every generation we're trying to heal the 2 houses of Israel. Ezekiel chapter 37, the sticks combining. There's Jewish proper, if your mother was a Jew. And there's the return of the exiles. And the return of the exiles means that the 10 lost tribes were scattered amongst the Samaritans. We don't accept Gerim from the stock of the worldwide Gerim because there may be 10 lost tribes in them, and if we marry them, it's a forbidden marriage. Like, I'll give you an example. This isn't true per se, but let's say I have a sister somehow amongst them. If I marry from them, I may end up marrying my sister. I'm just giving a fake example. But what we're trying to do is make a bridge for the Gerim to come back in their proper place through Shabbat, which will allow a bridge for the 10 lost tribes to come back. And if you're out there, you probably feel like you're either a ger, a lost Jew, 10 lost tribes, all these different variables trying to get through a very narrow hole, and everyone's kind of, going for it. The Jewish people proper are saying, go away, and it's a balagan. We called that Christianity 2,000 years ago, trying to fix that. It didn't work. In every generation, we try to do this. I'm going to tell you right now how to do it. Jewish people need to recognize all this wisdom going out to who the Gerim are and the Kutites and all the things in the Talmud, which I call 50% of the Talmud, i.e. the non-Jewish part. Non-Jews, you very well may be a lost tribe Jew, a lost Jew. But there's also a chance you're a ger of many types of ger. The bottom line is, there are people that are revealed as Jews and people trying to come into Israel or attach onto Israel. Do it with wisdom. To heal the 2 sticks of Ezekiel, everyone must come through the gateway called ger. From there, get into Shabbos, you refine yourself, you get your pipeline to God, and the wisdom will be apparent who's who and what's what. I've learned that I'm a priest. I've known that since I'm a kid, but I didn't really know what it meant until I got involved in my work. And now, the deeper I go, the more I realize I am incapable of being anything but a priest. My mazel speaks it, my wisdom speaks it, and it's just apparent all the more so. The more an Israelite gets involved in his work, he'll realize he's an Israelite. The more, my co-author, The World of the Ger, Chaim Chlorfine, is a Levite. In this work, every day he realizes how much more that he's a Levite. So if you get into this kind of light to nations work, I promise you, if you come into Ger, I also came in through Ger, meaning I only found my real self in my Ger work. If you get involved in Ger work, as the prophet Malachi says, in the end of days, Elijah will come and purify the hearts of the fathers and the sons. And that is the way that the redemption will come and the Mashiach will come. Get involved in Light to Nations work. If you're Jewish or not Jewish, try to mend the healing of the northern and southern kingdom, the two sticks, the houses of Israel mentioned in Ezekiel. And as you come in through this kind of generic Ger, it's meant to be a bit generic, but as you come in, and you come into mitzvahs and Torah and God, you will find the refinement of your soul will yield an awareness and light and revelation of your mazel, which is your connection to God, and you will, I promise you, absolutely know where you stand in the greater picture of Israel, and you'll know where you came from, where you're going. It just is revealed. Wisdom is like that. You don't really need to do a DNA test and genealogy searches and graveyards and shake the family tree. If you come to Torah, the tree of life, that's the tree that you need, and the wisdom will grant you the perception and wisdom and seichel, intellect and knowledge and camaraderie amongst Jews and non-Jews to find out who you are and where you're going, where you've been, and basically what your Shabbat is going to look like. With that, we're going to conclude. I hope you've enjoyed coming into the seventh day. Remember, everybody in the world has a seventh day. It's just a matter of how you connect to it, who you are in your soul, and what God has in store for you. And I wish everybody success in finding their true connection with the true God, the God of Israel. Thank you.